Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, friends and colleagues from across the world. For our second session Podinar today, we have a very special guest that I've personally been waiting for to hear his presentation. An entrepreneur, a doctor, and many other different things that we're going to discuss today. Dr. Jeremy Krell, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Dr. Schatz. It's a real honor to be here.
Since the first time I've met you, I took a keen interest in your career. And I will read your resume here, your bio shortly, so our audience becomes a little bit more familiar with you. But you are a very unique dental professional that has not only succeeded in the profession itself on the clinical side, but also on the business side, which is half the equation. And there's a lot to be learned from you by our colleagues. Maybe you can tell us some of your tricks as how you got here. Nevertheless, Dr. Krell is a general dentist with a combined business background. He's currently the head of marketing at Simplify, based in New York, and the chief marketing officer of Verena Solutions, based in Chicago. He oversaw provider and clinical growth initiatives at Quip, the oral health and subscription electric toothbrush company, and has since built out the Barchester Bay Group, a portfolio consisting of over 15 ventures. I think it's now up to 18. He's been busy since this has been written. Jeremy also practices general dentistry part-time, sits on the boards of healthcare and dental startups, and is an angel investor. Jeremy has a 15-plus year proven track record with startups to several successful multi-million-dollar fundraisers and acquisitions. Jeremy started his career with 3 web and graphic design startups and moved into a luxury good and commodities venture, Dorm8, for college students. Wow. He later founded a venture incubator, CEO in A-Box, and led strategic provider innovations and development at Oscar, a national health insurance company, following his MBA at Chicago Booth, where he had 4 different focuses in his MBA program. Jeremy lives with his wife, his beautiful daughter, and a pug in New Jersey, New York. Jersey. He enjoys playing and following professional tennis, having attended all U.S. Opens since he was born. Jeremy is a foodie and has been vegan for 10 years before it was cool. Wow, what a career you have had, Doc. Am I correct that you are currently involved with some 18 ventures in your career?
That's right. Yeah, I've built out the Barchester Bay Group now to about 18 ventures, which is I can't even believe it. Time has flown, and it's really kind of grown somewhat organically at this point. But yeah, we're up to 18.
That's amazing. So, I had this discussion with you briefly in the green room that half of the equation is having a business acumen. Your manual dexterity, your knowledge about medicine and healthcare only will get you so far in the business of healthcare. So you exemplify of what a doctor can achieve. You went through an MBA program. Did you find that MBA program, by the way, effective in helping you get to all of the goals that you have set for yourself?
Yeah, it was extraordinary. I did my MBA at the University of Chicago's Booth School of Business. It was an amazing opportunity to, first of all, establish kind of a base knowledge of core business principles, to practice applying that knowledge to various different business disciplines, to network with such high caliber, classmates, colleagues, faculty, and staff. It really opened up a lot of doors.
Do you think that we are undertrained as healthcare providers in business in general?
Yeah, I think as I reflect back on my dental education, I went to Tufts School of Dental Medicine in Boston, and it was a fabulous program, especially clinically. I really feel like we mastered, not just dentistry, but also dental medicine. Practice management is given such then there is a practice management course, and I enjoyed it, but it's given such small real estate in the dental education field. And then when you graduate dental school and you begin to work in an office, I've been in clinical practice for over 7 years now. You realize day one that it's not all about clinical dentistry. 50% of the job is How do I manage other people? How do I hire them and retain them and grow their talent? How do I manage, the finances, the books? Do I need investment? Do I need loans? How should I market my practice? Right? These are not questions that are, covered at all in dental school. I was lucky to have had kind of a self-started entrepreneurial career prior to dental school and through dental school. So I had familiarity with a lot of these concepts as an operator prior. But so many of my classmates, I think, struggle to and so many other graduating dental students just struggle with some of these concepts because they have no exposure to them. So I do think it's something that we really as a profession need to work on, from the very beginning.
So I took an MBA too out here in California, Brandman Chapman University, and what I noticed is, although the business principles are really good to get us into commerce, some of the classes didn't. A lot of the classes didn't pertain to what I do in a healthcare setting. At the Global Summits Institute, we are really considering launching a program very soon that focuses just on the healthcare provider and the needs that they are. The problems that you and I and every other doctor encounters in these groups and these discussions is you don't provide a solution for younger doctors coming out with big debt, how to eliminate that, how to invest, how to set themselves up for the future. So we will be inviting you as a faculty member, if that's something that you wish to consider in the future as the program gets accredited in Europe. But it's such an honor to have you here. And now comes one of the latest ventures that you're involved with, which is Simplify. And you guys have graciously made an offer to all of our viewership that are part of the doctor-to-doctor programs or are participating with us to look into this. Can you give us a brief overview just as to what Simplify is and what is being offered to our colleagues across the world that I'm going to drop the link on here on the side? Please tell us more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so everybody has the link right away, and it'll be in writing. It's Simplify, simplify.com/D2D, D2D. And there's a 30-day free trial in there. So Simplify, is a company that really addresses what a practice needs to extend its services kind of all in one digitally and over the internet. So what I mean by that, right, is how do you think of kind of the virtual side, the digital suite, of your practice that is patient facing, right? So who is talking to those patients that are coming through a channel like your website and not your phone or in person, right? Who's helping them schedule? Who's helping them, get a consult? And who is helping them pay? Right? These are some of the core problems that we focus on, and those touch points that occur not necessarily in person but digitally, which is a way that consumers are engaging now, especially amplified by COVID. But is really kind of what we believe the way of the future.
Excellent. So I was reading a little bit about this program. It in real time answers patients in different languages and what have you. In a multicultural world today, with our patients pools expanding into all different cultures and languages and customs, I find that to be very interesting. How does that do that?
Yeah, so it's really a special tool. Our flagship product is called Amplify. It's a 24/7 live chat tool. It answers anybody who lands on your website in 7 seconds or less. And we have over 7 different languages with different dialects, over 25 different dialects. So we really serve, just about, all major dental markets, even many secondary and tertiary dental markets around the world. It's real people answering those inquiries. It's not a bot, and it's not having to rely on your office staff. So it is truly 24/7, 365 days a year. And we have some really, really fantastic tools that are built for these people to be able to do it to the extent. And, I'll give you kind of an element of what's super special about our product. our chatters can even see what's being typed in that chat box before the person clicks submit. So our chatters are thinking about answers for folks prior to them even submitting their question, right? That enables us to just get there even, seconds later. And as I'll show you in my presentation, there's real research to support that you have to be there in the nights and the weekends, 24/7, 365. You have to be in different languages. You have to answer immediately, or folks just leave the website, right? I encourage all of my, dental professional colleagues that may be listening today to think about how you as a consumer shop on other websites, right? When you're shopping for a particular product or service, it's, say non-healthcare related, how quickly you jump from site to site, what you're looking for in terms of the price, the branding, right? How you like to be spoken to, and what you expect out of customer service and those SLAs. And that's really what we're helping to deliver for each practice. And the practice can completely customize what is being said and how it's being said to the customer, so that this can really feel like a catered approach, as if it's somebody from the internal office staff, even though it's not speaking to that patient. It's totally customizable in that regard. So it's really a special product that has enabled offices to capture the ROI. That's the other thing, right? Think about what you're spending on marketing already. Well, your marketing drives people, right? In 2020, it's not necessarily driving people to your phone number or to your front door. It's driving people to your website, right? And so, if people are going to land on your website, they need to have calls to action that are simple and easy to execute. These types of services that we offer take it away for them. They don't have to, they don't have to really lift a finger, besides to just answer, a couple of quick questions to a chatter who can, get them an appointment, collect their insurance and billing information, schedule them, right? So it's really kind of a service built for this digital age of what we call retail healthcare.
Retail healthcare. So big corporate type support from the background as you're easing things up on the front desk. Is that the right thought process?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, we like to work with practices, that are, individual, all the way up to, to large practice. It doesn't really matter how large kind of your practice is, but if you want to become more efficient at converting patients, you'll work with one of our tools. It's really kind of all about that conversion point, that moment where the patient experiences your practice digitally for the first time, and what that look and feel is, and how easy it is to get in the door. We do work with a number of different industry, and corporate members in order to make that process easier. For example, we're directly integrated into several practice management systems, especially in the States, which enables just a bit of a smoother direct scheduling process. But we do so in a way where the office maintains total control. If you're anything like my dental office, I know that the schedule is the holy grail. I execute the schedule, but my front desk is the one that assembles the schedule. So nobody touches that if it doesn't go through the front desk. And so we honor that in our services. We have kind of the offices owning the keys to the holy grail, their schedule, but our services being able to provide options to fill it.
Excellent. Wow. There's always this debate about if you should, for example, outsource your insurance claims and the breakdowns and all of those things, or you should actually have it internally. That really depends on your demand and the type of practice that you're running, I propose. But this is a very cool, neat idea, because, half the time I come up to the front desk and the girls are tied up on the phone with a new patient and going over similar things that could be done off-site. So I foresee this to be very effective in that regard. There's some interesting individuals that have endorsed you, and I understand you guys the third year in a row now. Celerance, what do they call them? Celerance, Best in Class, I believe.
Yeah, we've won the Celerant Best in Class award 3 times. We really this year have focused in on improving Amplify, our live chat service, and getting it to the next level, and the technology that kind of backs it. and that's been honored by Celerant. And the thing that we're focused on, our brand new product is now called Payments. It really focuses in on that point where the patient is paying for their service, right? And the office really has to think about how do they want to do revenue cycle management? How do they want to issue invoices and allow payments to occur? Do they have payment plans? What are the merchant fees, right? Our new payments product kind of brings forward a lot of those questions and solves a lot of the issues that are there.
Excellent. Dr. Krell, what's the end game? What you're helping so many doctors and so many organizations. What do you foresee yourself in 10, 20 years? What is besides, I presume you're helping as many doctors as you possibly can. I'm very interested in your career.
Yeah, sure. 10, 20 years is a hard question, right? Because we're running at I feel like 1,000,000 miles an hour right now on everything we're doing. And sometimes it's hard to see your hand in front of you, much less 10, 20 years down the road. So I don't know. And the reason is, that I'll say I'm on the no plan there is because I think the market is subject to such dynamic changes, right? Dentistry especially is really reshaping itself right now. So I want to be on the cutting edge of whatever technology has to offer, in 10 to 20 years. And given how much change is going on in this industry right now, it's so hard to say what's going on there. But I'd expect myself to and my other esteemed colleagues to be full court press towards whatever is most cutting edge at that point, and really making sure it gets into doctors' hands and that they understand it, that it's brought to them in a way where doctors are not cut out of the equation, right? I think that's where we really start to get into trouble, where less and less the provider is actually owning the process and the mindset. So I think that's where kind of myself and a lot of what I do at the Barchester Bay Group is kind of acts as that connective tissue or that glue that ties some of these big, I don't want to necessarily big data, but big business solutions right to the very consumer, that in this case the dentist or the dental practice that's using them. So I think that's really kind of the area where I most like to play.
You live in a world of obsolescence, as you know, and a lot of people say, well, there's no magic bullet or the magic bullet has been founded. That's not true. Every magic bullet that's out there is going to be obsolete in time. So innovation is really, really good. And I really admire you for fighting more for the doctors, the small guy, the independent thinkers, which are the vast majority of the market still, by any estimate and any study. Although big corporations are coming around, we can enable them. I understand also you might have been involved with some AI stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, one of my portfolio companies is Denti.ai. It's a radiograph diagnostic assistance tool, and I work a lot there with Dr. Eric Pulver and the rest of the great team at Denti.ai. And we're looking to help providers get assistance on really digesting or ingesting their radiographs and all the information that there is to learn from them. It's really neat what AI is able to do in that regard today by scanning bite wings, periapical images, and panoramic images. It's able to find existing treatment that's been done, as well as new issues that are arising, and present those to the doctor. And again, the doctor has the ability to agree or disagree with what those findings are, and then it can automatically chart those findings right back into the practice management system. So a really neat tool. I know in my practice, that whole process end to end, even if it's just looking for caries, periapical radiolucencies, and bone loss, that whole process of, not just exposing the x-rays, but you have to remember, right, the assistant or the hygienist might need to retake an image if they're not sure, which means they may need to check with the doctor, right? Then me coming in and going through it, charting more, and then all of those findings then being input into the odontogram and the practice management. So that whole process is easily 15 to 20 minutes of chair time. And to be honest, we all have to self-reflect on that. We're not perfect, right? We miss things. We all miss things, whether you'd like to admit it or not. And we don't go pixel by pixel on images. We can't look at them in the same way that a computer can look at them. And, you can play that right back in reverse. A computer can't look at them in the same way that we can look at them. So you need both. The human has to be in the loop, and it's helpful to have the computer in the loop too. So that's really what Denti AI is all about, and has really fine-tuned its tool, and is, it has FDA approval. It's a patented technology. There's research done at accredited United States institutions like Indiana University, UNC, and others to support its findings. I really think it's the market leader in AI in dentistry.
Very interesting. Yes. Sometimes a little too fast technology is moving to try to stay up to date. For example, also digital impressions. There's always a debate about that, but it's becoming so advanced that it's almost avoidable now to get involved with those kind of technologies. Very cool. So, Dr. Krell, you have a presentation today that we will be looking at. I'm going to go ahead, and with that said, have you go over that presentation with us, and you will have the floor.
Well, thank you very much. So it's my honor to take everybody today through my presentation about Simplify. It's really kind of a case study that I'd like for all of my colleagues to consider, from somebody who's kind of bringing you the clinical dentist, the general dentist, the clinical side, as well as kind of the business side of taking an operator role in a company like this. I'm head of marketing at Simplify. I joined earlier this year, and Dr. Shaw's already done a tremendous job of introducing me. I hope that this presentation really brings about what retail healthcare means for you. I personally think success from this presentation looks like cherry picking one or two or three key things that you think you might be able to apply to your practice, and that doing so would lift it up, or help your patients or help your staff in some way. I think that would be really a tremendous outcome. And I'll give you a little bit of background, throughout about our founder as well. Our founder, Dr. Ryan Hungate, is an orthodontist, and he similarly has a very interesting, prior business life and background, and that started right at Apple. So Ryan worked pretty high up at Apple. His role really focused on what was going on in that store. So you're going to see me carry this image of this gentleman and this woman, helping the gentleman helping the woman to purchase something, of course, using an Apple device, right? Apple, this brand that has grown tremendously with extremely innovative thinkers, right, surfaced around. They're mostly physical products, but also their software too. And Dr. Hungate, the founder of our company and CEO of our company, and how he had to really think about what was going on in that retail environment, how consumers wanted to interact with members of the Apple team, right? How they wanted to purchase products, how they wanted to receive customer service. What do they do at their most kind of desperate points? And he really kind of helped them think about that, and then jumps into the dental world, right, from that Apple background, and says, how can we make that experience, right? Taking that hustle bustle environment where people are trying to, buy some of the most innovative products, right? Think about when a new generation Apple product comes out, what that wait list, what that line looks like, of course, in a non-COVID world, and how that translates to what goes on in a dental practice that's extremely busy, right? And what we do there, right? So a couple of the things that are really important that happened in that retail environment, right, are first and foremost, right, is the old experience where there are too many people and it's way too intimidating, right? So that's the type of environment you don't want, when there's this huge crowd, but then you get people saying, it's too much, I don't want to be a part of this, whatever this is might be cool, but it's going to take me forever, I'm out, right? Versus the new experience where everybody can move towards what they want to do with intent. So even though it's busy, right, I know that I can get what I need pretty quickly, right? Someone's going to come up to me, they're going to ask me what I need, I'm going to go into some kind of queue, I'm going to have clear expectations as to when I'm going to get seen, right? I know that I'm going to get exactly what I came for and be able to do it efficiently, right? That was kind of the transition that happened in Apple. And again, think about how that applies to a dental office, right? So there's that triage that occurs at the front door, a lot of people coming in through one central point, right? And they all need something slightly different, right? How do we get them to what and where they need, right? How do we play zone defense, so to speak, for any football fans, American football fans? How do we strategically, place them with the right person, right? So not just what do they need, but making sure that they feel handed off to somebody who can handle their specialized need, right? And then, kind of give them a few steps from the front with receipt, right? How do, here's what you're going to do first, and then we're going to do this next. And then if you need to follow up, this is how, right? So there are kind of no questions left unturned. Right. So, a quote from good old Albert Einstein here, right? And this is actually somewhat, if you take a minute to just read this quote, it's actually somewhat easy to do with just one person, right? Is focusing on quality, right? And getting more people through the door, and get them to come back and really trust their provider. It's really when you need to teach someone else to do it the exact same way that you do it, that it gets difficult, right? And that again is where, dental providers and medical providers alike tend to struggle, right? You can do it really well. You've developed this process. It's your practice, but how do you get other people to do it as well as you can, right? And now do that 15 times, right? Or maybe 100 times more when you open up to more people, more advertising, more locations, whatever it is that you're doing, right? So that is really, really tough and brings about this question of patient engagement and acquisition. How do you really engage them and get them and convert them so that they become a part of your practice, right? And not somebody else's practice, right? You have to kind of think about a practice as a leaky bucket in a way, right? Where you have to get new patients in the door all the time, but it's a lot harder than it seems to hold, to get them in and then to hold on to them, right? More are coming in, and that's one set of processes and tools that you use to get them coming in, but then that bucket's got to hold it, right? And they're not so easy to hold on to. So again, our Apple man and woman here, getting patients into your practice needs to be a priority, right? Why does it need to be a priority? Because they come in because they didn't take care of themselves. They're likely going to continue that same habit, right? Getting patients into your practice often results in 7 out of 10 new patients never coming in for a second visit, right? That's where you know that there's a missed opportunity, right? These are people who came in because they had something going on because they didn't take care of themselves. They're probably going to continue not to take care of themselves, even if they improve a little bit, because habits are, by clinical study, hard to break, right? But then they don't come back in, or they don't come back into your practice. That's a problem, right? For another one, 20% of your patient base is lost every year, right? Most dental practices I know, a single practice with, say a single doc and a single hygienist, or maybe one or two docs hygienists, is probably about 15 to 1,800 active patients in a year. How many patients are inactive? Right? Thousands, right? Think about that, those that lapse on the care that you recommend, the treatment plans that you recommend. 75% of visitors never return to a dental website for a second time. Now we're moving over to the digital world, right? From in practice, right? If they come to a website, just again, think about how you shop for any service or good, right? Do those visitors return a second time? right? Do you go back to a website if you're, kind of interested in it, but can't easily find what you want, or do you just move on, right? Is this where Amazon wins? Okay. So even the best front desk, even people who are grinding all day long, and they are grinding all day long, they miss up to 30% of their phone calls. Why? Because they only have two hands and two ears, right? And really, if you ask somebody to walk and chew gum, you realize, most can only do one, maybe two tasks, one well, one half okay, right? We just can't manage the volume as single, individual people. We just can't do it, right? And if you're doing a super successful job bringing that kind of interest to your website or to your phone line or to your front desk in person, but you don't have the staff to support it, well, then your only option is to hire more staff, right? But then what happens when that volume just, dips, right, for whatever reason, because of the holiday or because of a pandemic or because of, you switched marketing efforts to try something else, right? It's a big overhead expense and a big risk, right? So I ask you the questions: how many of you actually like to be on hold, right? As a consumer, do you wait when you're put on hold, right? The front desk is busy doing their job, right? No wonder they miss calls. Of course they miss calls, and that was before COVID. Right now, there's less time and even less people. Right here, social distancing. People are taking shifts. God forbid people get sick. It's a big problem for an office. So if you get put on hold, what do you do? Right? What do we really do about that? People search on their own time. Right? They go look for something else. Right? They search when it's convenient for them. Then you ask yourself the question: are you open for calls at 9:30 p.m.? What about 2 a.m.? Have you ever shopped at those times? Right? Think about the busy family, right? Mom and or dad are at work, right? Kids are at school. You get home, you're right into the routine of activities and homework and dinner, right? All of a sudden, by the time you're making appointments, you're setting things up for the week, you're doing it on the nights and the weekends or the very early mornings. Dental offices aren't opened on the night, in the late nights and early. Even if you have one late night, right, in your office, even if you have an answering service or a voicemail machine, right, even if you think you have it covered, right, people don't respond to that. They're left not knowing. I left a message, but I don't know if someone's going to get it. I don't know if they're going to get back to me. How many times do you leave a message and nobody gets back to you? It's not a feeling of comfort, and this is at a time when you as a patient are most vulnerable, right? So you need to measure response time, and you need to do it in seconds, not minutes or hours, right? So there are some services out there that providers use to, get analytics on their phone systems. Great, right? But what are you doing with that data? And, how do you interpret it? After 5 minutes, your odds of scheduling a patient can drop by 80%, right? So if they're on that phone, whether it's on hold or on the phone, right, that's it. After 5 minutes, you start to get into, into trouble. The odds of scheduling a patient decrease by 10x in the first hour of not getting back to them. 78% of patients schedule with the first responder, right? Somebody who actually just gets back to them or reaches them, right? Or they can reach. Conversions can be up to 391% higher in that first minute if you're able to get them. Right? Think about that one-click buy button for Amazon. Right? What the difference used to be from Amazon of the past, right? And then the next generation of Amazon, where you could add it to the cart and go through all these clicks, versus that one-click buy, right? Where if I want it, I can get it. Amazon started capturing impulse decisions. I'm not saying going to a healthcare provider is an impulse decision, right? But it feeds this component of consumer behavior, right? That is, I need to get this resolved right now. I'm a busy person. I've got family stuff going on. I've got work stuff going on. I've got school stuff going on. And now I've got this pain where I haven't been to the provider in a while. I need to get this resolved. Like, I don't want to go through a big process. Right? Patients are looking for immediacy, especially in 2020, right? They do by industry. Just take a look. I pulled the numbers on some of the other industries' average response times, right? I think we all tend to think of the telecom industry, right? Think about your experiences with Comcast or AT&T or Verizon or any of the others on the phone, and they're close to the quickest, unbelievably, which is 16 minutes, and I'll call it 16 minutes of horror, right? I think we all hate that experience and dread it. But what do you think healthcare is? Healthcare is 2 hours and 5 minutes on average before it gets back to a person. This is a person that it missed, right? Somebody it didn't pick up the phone for. That 30% of the calls that front desk missed because they were just too busy, on average takes 2 hours and 5 minutes to get back to them. That is staggering, right? It's higher than any of these others, which are pretty bad experiences. So people often look for outside sources to bring them new patients, right? Like listing services, right? And those are great if you're in a big city and they're advertising there. But most of the docs don't live in New York City or LA. And now COVID hit, smaller cities are growing, the burbs are growing, while larger cities are shrinking. So we need a new set of tactics, right? We have to learn how to become a 24/7 concierge service, even when you're asleep, you as the provider are asleep. Right? We have to figure out how to make money while sleeping, right? That's really tough to do. Are you getting hundreds of new patients a month, right? If not, why not? Almost every doc does look at their new patients per month metric. Right? I pulled these from some of our social media campaign because I think that they're really great, right? And this is how we're talking on social to providers. Have you seen those recent patient engagement stats? 84% of patients said they wanted automated communications during COVID. 56% of patients are frustrated with scheduling appointments by the phone. Folks, we have to accept it. They don't like picking up the phone, right? They do not like talking on the phone. And I can't believe it because I actually like talking on the phone. I don't mind. In fact, sometimes it's even preferred for me. And I don't even mind if they push back on me, right? I don't mind talking on the phone. I enjoy it. But I look at my wife, for example, just pulling her into, she dreads the phone, right? She'll just not do something. She'll lose out on an opportunity. She'll lose money sometimes, right? Because she just doesn't want to talk on the phone or she's too busy, right? There are a lot of people like that. It's the majority of us. 63% of patients said they feel comfortable with telehealth visits, right? 14%, there was a 14% drop in patients' desire for live phone calls during COVID. Right. And it's not just COVID that's responsible for this. The trends are down overall before that. Right. So here's the question that they ask. How can we answer all of these questions quickly? Right. Is this doctor right for me? How much is it going to cost? Right. Some of these they ask you directly and some of them they're just thinking. Right. Do they take insurance? What about an appointment? Do they speak in my language? Right? If the average person hits your website and only stays there for 15 seconds or less, how can we answer all those questions efficiently and quickly, right? You need someone who can represent your practice and your brand 24/7 on your website. So they need to be 24/7 and digital for you, right? So what's Amplify, right? And how can we as Simplify help your practice, right? You have to have somebody chatting for you. Don't make your front desk do it, right? They're already underwater with everything that they have to do at the front desk. The average response time for a self-manned chat is 43 minutes, meaning, if you take on a tool that does give your staff the ability to talk to patients, they're never going to be fast enough because it's never going to be their first priority because what's standing right in front of them has got to be their first priority, right? Average response times for live chat is 7 seconds. That's pretty unbeatable. Your front desk is already too busy and you'd have to get them to do it in 24/7 and answer within 7 seconds. Forget it. Right? We have hundreds of chatters nationwide going 24/7, right? These people are front desk trained. They are our entire platform is HIPAA compliant. You have a survey that you can fill out that's completely customizable so that these chatters can speak how you would want your staff speaking to your patients. And you can just simply click and see a dashboard of all the new patients coming in and all the metrics on them, right? Remember, 48% of people we chat with walk through your front door. You have to make sure that your brand is being represented correctly. You've worked, I'm sure, a long time to build up your brand. And remember that tough element of you can do it, but can you make other people do it? And can you make them do it 15 times and 100 times? That's the tough part. So now you can read every single chat if you wanted to, right? We make it easy for the front desk to use technology that they're used to, like email, right? So we put it in, everything is put in their same means. There's not some huge learning curve to use our platform, and you get the analytics on top of it, and the patients get met at their demands, right? So, again, I want to just stress the point because we always get this question. We're HIPAA compliant. All of our back end is completely HIPAA compliant. We're not really there to talk clinical questions with patients. When they ask clinical questions, our chatters are responding with, "Let's get you a visit," right? They're not discussing anything clinical with those patients, and I just want to make sure that point is stressed, right? Here's the average dental practice monthly, right? 500 visits, 25 chats, 10 referrals, right? For us, that's one with one location, right? The Amplify's therefore ROI is $7,151, which is a 20x on what we charge, right? And with what we're offering again to everybody in the D2D network is 30 days free, right? So, and by the way, we're not even including things like clear aligners in here. This doesn't throw in, some of the high ticket procedures. We're basing this off of American Dental Association averages of $700 or so, $750 per patient in the first year, right? Meaning this is really their exam, cleanings, x-rays, maybe twice a year, right? In that kind of revenue. So we're not counting the big ticket cases here, right? Then there's scheduling, right? Which we view as an extension of, as really a separate service to that 24/7 live chat, right? We have to talk about providing your patients the ability to book their own appointments online. They do it for so many other things, right? They get their food delivered. Everything else, they're really booking for themselves, right? Now, right, I know that the schedule is a touchy subject and no one should mess with the schedule. It's the holy grail. That's fine. We get it. That's how it is in my office. That just means you have to pick a platform that gives you the full control of where and when patients are placed in the schedule, right? And you can even limit the types of appointments they can choose from, right? That's really what we do. We enable easier scheduling that your office controls completely. Don't allow a patient to pick implant consultation, right? And then block an entire hour. That's insane. They may want an implant. They may think that they should have an implant, but they really don't know what the suitable or standard of care procedure for their particular problem is, right? Let them choose their topic, and then you put them in how you'd like to put them in per any other patient, right? And don't forget, existing patients don't want the hassle of calling your front desk either, right? They are these people who are, informed about what they should be doing and have already kind of been there before, right? They really want to have an even more white collar experience, right? If you're a loyal customer, you want it even quicker, even more premium, right? Here are some stats, right, that I've shared. 56% of users are frustrated with waiting on hold. 31% of users would be more likely to choose a new service provider if they offered them online booking options. By 2021, Gartner Inc. predicts that 70% of healthcare providers will offer self-scheduling options. It's beyond a trend at this point. It is the year of live chat and scheduling. They're just staples in a practice, right? You never want to leave a patient unattended on your website, right? A patient unattended on the website is a lost opportunity. You've spent money to bring that patient to your website. They didn't just stumble on it randomly. If you were a website that did absolutely no marketing, no SEO, no forms of social media, no email, no flyers, no word of mouth, no advertisement of any kind, then they wouldn't find your website, right? They found your website through something you did to bring them there. That effort is lost if you can't convert them. Okay, so I want to switch gears a little bit here, right? Now we've talked a lot about what happens with live chat and with scheduling. And now they're in your office. Here's the other whammy, right? Bump, bump, bump. It's payments, right? We've been waiting to talk about this forever. Payment systems and workflows are being modified at an extremely rapid pace in every industry, right? Think about Square. Right? Think about tapping and Apple Pay and Google Wallet and all the different ways you can pay for things. One that's not yet been touched is dentistry. Remember, folks, we still use tools from 1999, right? Every day in our office. There are folks out there doing paper invoices. In fact, it's standard, right? Some do paper charts, some do wet x-rays. Our practice management systems look like the MS-DOS interface, right? We all know, that dentistry is a little bit of a laggard, but it doesn't have to be in this regard. The tools are here, right? We don't have to use the old credit card machines. And when those aren't working, we have to swipe it with a carbon copy, right? We always have to use outside sources for our payment plan technology. We're going to show you a way that you can keep it and change that, and you can keep it in dentistry and in-house, right? We think payments should be a focus, right, for three huge problems in your practice. Okay, and I want to kind of prime those before we dive into the next set of slides. Revenue cycle management, which includes invoicing. Integration with the electronic health records, giving you a unified interface, even if you have multiple locations or multiple different record systems or multiple different types of ways that you collect payment. And then payment plan technology. What do you do when that patient just can't afford it, but you have good reason to believe that they will pay for it? Okay. Make sure to talk, about your text and email invoicing with your staff. What do they think about it? How is that process going for them? They're the ones doing it, not you, right? And now that it's COVID, how can that be contactless, right? How do we make 0% merchant fees? How do we make customized payment plans? How do we do soft credit checks, right? And why should we be doing those, right? 0% merchant fees, that's pretty hard. Most of us pay a couple points, right? Customized payment plans, many of us don't even offer payment plans. And when we do, it's off the books, right? It's kind of, you have that sticky note that says, Jane Doe or John Smith owes this much on this date. Credit checks, we don't do credit checks, right? I hate to admit it, but dental offices on a daily basis are really just screening their patients by the scenario, right? By look and sound of it. Do I think this person is going to pay or not? So let's talk about contactless payments for a minute, right? Obviously, contactless is a much bigger deal now than it was 6 months ago or 8 months ago. Patients are looking for a practice going the extra mile to make them comfortable. It's not just about COVID, right? People are doing it while the patient is in the chair, right? You can pay while they're there, right? They have to create a portal that comes to you. No one wants to come back to your website, right? You really have to, spell the last names and, make sure that they're, every other bit of their website or bit of your website is right in their browser, right? How many problems can happen there? How much is our payment platform, right? Normally managing and dispersing this information costs a ton, but we figured out a way to provide it free of charge to you. Right? It really shouldn't cost a dime because the patient is the one that generates the income for the provider. Think about auto pay, right? In other areas. Here's what we've designed, right? We make it easy for your staff to understand and create a plan that works for the patient and for your practice. The treatment coordinator or front desk or practice manager sees one thing and the patient sees something that makes it easy to understand and then signs off on it, right? You need an easy way to create a plan. Right, so we have a dashboard that can be run on a tablet, a mobile device, a desktop, and then we have a healthcare provider friendly hardware piece. We call it the smile because you can see a little bit of a smile in the curvature of that stand there. It's highly unique. It has a swipe it as a chipper, right, and makes it extremely easy to check out. Okay. So patients want to pay their bills, right? But if they don't have auto, if we don't make it easy for them to pay, then they're just not going to do it, right? That's where we fall off in terms of collections and lost revenue. So I want to touch on a kind of term that finance likes to use to hide some of these problems: the card not present versus present transaction fee. And this is happening every day in your life, right? It's about tokenizing credit cards. So what we essentially mean by this, right, is there are fees on a card not present transaction, meaning the card is physically not present, which are on average 40 basis points or 0.4% higher than transactions that are run when the patient is in person on the terminal, right? 40 basis points. That's a big amount, right? Processing your payments, think about it with a terminal like Clover and how it runs, right? And versus new technology that tokenizes your card and processes it so that you can still get the benefit, right, of of having the card present versus the fees of the card not present. Right? Merchant fees. You're probably paying 2 to 3%, right? Most practices pay about 2.75%, especially if you're a larger practice, right? And maybe you can shrink some of those down, but you are paying at least 2% in interchange fees. Amex, Visa, MasterCard, they always take this fee out, right? So a bit of a funny one here, and it relates to kind of the Durbin Act, but has anyone here been paying ridiculous fees, right? Cover your ears. You don't even know what's going out the door in your total revenue, right? If you put the fees that are given away in processing fees, 2.2 to 3%, plus 2% that your electronic health record system or your practice management system charges, and yeah, they're charging you 1% or 2% on every transaction that's processed through there. You're about 5% of top line revenue going out the door. That's a ton of money, right? So we can do 0%, right? So you might say to me, that sounds like a lot, right? Think 3.5% sounds like a lot. You might say that sounds like a lot to pass through to the patient. We're not saying to do it every time, right? We can enable you. Our technology can enable you to put this processing fee on the patient instead of on your practice. We're not saying do that all the time, because for one-offs, it's not needed. Your practice isn't taking any risk, right? You did a procedure, the patient's paying for it, done, right? It's just on your payment plans and your invoices, right? When they're not paying for it right away, right? Think about large fees on credit cards, right? And the charge for the points. That's what you can explain to the patient. If they'd like to, they can just use a debit or an ACH, which doesn't charge that convenience fee, but it's huge for your practice, right? In our last minute or two here, just think about the back of the napkin math, right? The 3.5% times $1,000 is really $35, right? And then think about that over, a treatment plan, right? And then think about that over all the patients in your practice. This could save a practice around $50,000 a year, right? Payments is something that you need to reform in your practice. And we have a tool at Simplify that can handle your live chat, can handle your scheduling, and can handle your payments all in one tool. The kind of last thought I'll leave you with, right, is think about having all of the different technology, right, the hardware and the software that you have in your office to get a simple process like bringing a patient in and checking them out, not the clinical piece, which you're doing, right? It takes 8 different products or services to do that. At Simplify, we're bringing everything to you under one roof, right? We're offering you a 30-day free trial at simplify.com/D2D. I encourage you to give it a try. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Jeremy Krell, Head of Marketing at Simplify. Dr. Shah, I can't hear you.
Thank you for sharing the presentation. That was wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciated it. And I hope everybody benefited from a new kind of look at dentistry.
Yes. So sometimes tell us about the transition, possibly for even the older generation. You're talking about a lot of advanced technology that they might not be familiar with, touchless pay, and all of those good things. If you know anything from the older generation, it's very hard to make them use a new technology or convert to something new. What recommendations would you have for someone in that position?
Yeah, and this one's going to come, a little bit butting heads with that statement, but you have to try something. You have to be willing to try something new, right? Look, I get it. If you're in the last 5 years, of your practice and you're thinking about selling your practice or, transitioning to retirement or, to an associate or partner that you have in-house, maybe changing everything under the hood isn't for you. And I get that, right? But for those that are looking to stay in practice through this decade, right, and beyond, I think we do need to look at what patients want, right? Yeah, it cannot be, overly burdensome for our practices, but this technology is actually meant to be easier for the practice, right? So on the practices end, and I didn't do a virtual walkthrough of our back end, but if you saw our back end, it's essentially the same as the systems that are being used right now. In fact, some of it directly integrates into your practice management system. So to be honest, on the provider's end, the doctor's end, or the front desk's end, it's really not much different than what they're doing right now. If they wanted to, make it as simple as possible, for example, with our live chat will simply send them notifications of a new patient's request to schedule by email, which they're certainly receiving email. They can open up the email and call the patient on the phone. If they really wanted to do it that way, it could be done, in the same routine that they do and that they book every other patient. That option is there. We haven't taken it away. We've just given the patient another opportunity to reach out. So instead of the patient having to call or wait on the phone or wait on the website, we've gotten their attention immediately and just handed it off with all the information that they need to the provider, right? So again, that front desk is then going to collect billing information, insurance information. We've done that for you, right? So we've simply given the patient what they want and also given the practice what they want, right? It could alternatively be completely digital experience, right? If the practice wants to use our dashboard, and use the integration, to the maximum benefit, they certainly can do that, and the process can be seamless that way. So it's really a flexible platform that can kind of cater to any process that's in the office, because we know that they're so specific, and that there's a lot of resistance to change something that's working.
So I assume you guys are pretty comfortable with your product and you have data of who has come and gone. You guys are offering a 30-day free trial for our viewership, which is very appreciated. So I assume your turnover is very low.
Yeah. Once people use it, I think, and we always recommend give it at least a few months to try anything new that you try in your practice, our technology or someone else's, a try. But what you'll see is, at least 6 to 10 new patients per month, right? And even if those patients come in for, exams, cleanings, x-rays, all the way up to whatever other treatment that they're looking for, with what our prices are, as a monthly SaaS fee, software as a service fee, there's almost no chance that the production that you get off of those 6, even if you got the minimum 6 to 10 new patients, there's close to no chance that you're not multiple times more than what you've spent here. So it's really a very low risk scenario. You're in a position where you stand really just to gain. There's just really, mainly upside benefit here.
Fantastic. Yes, I look forward to actually signing up for it for a month and see how it goes, and I will report back to you. Dr. Krell, I know you're super busy. We'd love to have you back on the program and learn more about your ways and your uncompromising determination to take the profession to the next level, and we're highly appreciative of that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this group always makes me so excited. Every time I get an email from Dr. Shah or an opportunity to speak, it's really fantastic, because I know that we're talking to folks with an open ear, folks that want to change, and folks that want to help kind of push our profession together, into what this next generation really has to bring. So thank you for the opportunity, Dr. Shah. It was my pleasure.
And we like to maintain this connective tissue of the providers, gluing our opportunities and options together. So we are very fond of having doctors come to us and teach us, because they not only understand whatever endeavor that is they're undertaking, but they also understand what happens chairside, which is a big difference between a business person teaching doctors business versus a doctor teaching doctors about the healthcare business. Thank you so much for your time. I look forward to having you on the show in the years to come. Just one more thing. Everything that you do is about accuracy, right? It's about precision, timing, and that's no more evident as of now. We are at 59 minutes and 20 seconds, and it's a 60-minute podinar. So as we close this, I kind of noticed that as well. It's it's a 60-minute Potenar. Accuracy is there. Thank you so much for your time, doctor.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.